So welcome back. We are moving on to our third presentation. And as we tried to do in previous years, since this is a special day about the body, we don't want just to talk about bodies, we want to be a little bit bodies as well. And we hope that this is what this particular session will enable us to do. Our next presenter is Marion Rees. Marion is a social worker for the Royal Navy family and people support, working with serving personnel and their families to strengthen their capacity and resilience to manage the stresses of daily life and those specific to the military lifestyle. Marion has previously worked in both statutory and non-statutory social work, including in adult social care, within hospital and community settings, as well as with Help for Heroes, supporting veterans and their families. As a trained complementary therapist specializing in sophrology, which I've never heard about before until I learned about Marion's work, and having run her own private practice for several years, Marion applies principles of sophrology to her social work practice. I'm still struggling to pronounce it. Sophrology.
Sophrology.
Sophrology, okay.
Yeah.
She uses sophrology techniques both as a reflective tool and for direct intervention with the individuals and groups she supports. We're very happy to have you with us, Marion, and the stage is yours.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here today and to share a little bit of a taste of a well-being method that's very close to my heart and that's really helped me make peace personally with my own body. And that technique is called sophrology, which I know is a little bit of a mouthful, but with practice, we get better at pronouncing it. So I'm just going to share my screen now, and I'm hoping it works. I can see it, and I hope you can see it too. So there we are. Yeah. Okay. So as you can tell from my accent, because I can't get away with it, you can probably tell that I am originally from France. And I've lived in the UK for about 14, 15 years now. And sophrology is a method that's huge in continental Europe, particularly in France and Switzerland and Spain. And it's increasingly growing in popularity in the UK. So really the aim of the session today is to give you a taste of that method if you've not heard of it. And I don't think many people will have heard of it. So really that's an opportunity to then invitation to put judgment aside for a little bit, to give yourself a permission to connect with your body and experience it as it is rather than how you think it is. So we will do a little practice, a short practice, and then a longer practice as part of this session. So let's have a quick run through what we'll look at during the session. Here we are. So I'll do a quick introduction, but your eyes really done it already. So I think we will be able to skip a little bit there, and we'll do a quick check-in with an exercise to pause and take a moment for ourselves to relax and to reinstate a little bit of calm today if we're feeling a little bit agitated. So we'll also then have a brief look at what self-image is and body image, and how the impact of a positive and negative image can have on our lives. We'll touch on why we should strive to reconnect and inhabit our body, and we'll explore what sophrology is and why it's effective to restore that positive image of ourselves. I'll guide you through a practice of sophrology so that you've got an opportunity to really acquire a lived experience of the method. This is very much a practical method that has to be experienced rather than talking about it at length. Finally, we'll have a closer look at social work practice and the use of sophrology within that setting. both really as a tool for self-awareness and for reflection, but also as a tool that we can start using with our clients, with individuals or in a group setting. So this is me, and as Yohai said, I'm a social worker for the Royal Navy, so supporting serving personnel and their families with difficulties that they can have in their lives, and those particularly related to separation during long periods of deployment. So that's working with adults and children. And part of my work, my work really, it's got different facets. And the primary role is to assess for compassionate action if necessary, to also signpost services, but do some direct work to strengthen the resilience and the capacities of those families to manage the stresses that they're encountering in life. I've worked in adult social care before in the hospital and community, and I'm also a trained complementary therapist, so I'm trained in massage therapy, in reflexology, and my true passion really is sophrology. And I'll share a little bit about my own story of how I came to sophrology in a minute. So now let's take a little pause and let's take a little space to explore a little bit about what goes on inside our body right now. Because we spend a huge amount of time in our head in modern life. There's a lot of noise, and sometimes it's very rare that we get the opportunity to take a break, to pause, and intentionally let go of the tension that we hold in our bodies and in our mind as well. So let's give ourselves the gift of a short pause now before we carry on. So don't change the posture of your body, just stay as you are. And what I'd like you to do is just to simply close your eyes and follow my voice for a moment. And I want you to bring your awareness into your body and just simply notice how you're feeling in this moment. Notice particularly the way your body is positioned. Notice how you're sitting. Notice the point of contact of your body with your chair or the sofa or whatever you're sitting on. And if you can adjust the position of your body, perhaps because you're noticing that there's unnecessary tension there, just take the time to do that. And find a posture that's more comfortable. And I'll invite you to scan your body now quickly from your head down to your toes, noticing the tension in the head and face and relaxing, consciously relaxing the forehead, and clench your jaw, drop your shoulders, relax your arms, your neck, your throat, releasing tension perhaps you might feel in your back, your chest, your abdomen, and finally relaxing your legs, your feet. And without changing the pattern of your breathing now, just notice for a moment how you breathe. Notice the air coming in and out through your nostrils or your mouth. Notice the length of your breath. Notice the parts of your body that are moving as you inhale and as you exhale. Just a little pause to connect to this vital system that's enabling us to be here and now, today, alive. Very, very precious bodily function. And now you prepare to come back to the room here and now. You can open your eyes, rub your hands, stretch if you need to, and just open your eyes. So this exercise took probably about a minute, and hopefully it's enabled you to have a little window of rest today, to have a bit of calm in your body. It's a quick and effective exercise I'd like to invite you to perhaps do once or twice a day. to just check in and see what is the state of your body at the moment, what state of tension, what is the state of relaxation, because it will help you to intentionally and consciously free yourself from that tension. And that really is the first step towards befriending our bodies. So let's have a little look at self-image, body image, but I won't talk about it too much because we've spoken about it at length this morning. But just a few words, because we often do not see ourselves as we really are, but more as we think we are, or how we believe others to see us. And there are several causes to that, which have been discussed previously in previous presentation. But an element of it is that our early childhood influences, such as parents, caregivers, but also teachers and friends, have a major influence on our self-image. They are effectively mirrors reflecting back at us an image of ourselves, which reinforces how we think about ourselves and how we feel about ourselves. So that influences our thoughts or emotional state, but ultimately how we behave and how we show up and present in the world. So the image that we see in the mirror may be an accurate view of who we really are, but it could also be that it's a completely distorted view. And that can result in us having a positive body image or a negative image. So with a positive image, we tend to recognize our assets, our potential, whilst being realistic really about our abilities and our limitations. Whereas with a negative self-image, we tend to focus more on our faults or failures or imperfections. So one leads to greater physical, emotional, and mental well-being, whereas the other one will tend to result in us being more prone to depression, to a sense of low self-worth, decreased life satisfaction, maybe more anxiety, and potentially some eating disorders. But the great news is that body image isn't fixed. So it's very much something that we can consciously work on. And that can change throughout our life. So no matter how old we are, we can work towards improving the image that we have of ourselves. So you've got a little bit about reconnecting to the body, because one of the keys to restoring a healthy body image is to build a more accurate image of our body. And that happens through learning to befriend the body and rediscover it from a new angle. So it's about stopping, we must stop ignoring the body and treating it as an enemy, because at the end of the day, our body is our home, and we don't get to swap our body. We have to live with that body for the rest of our lives. So it's important that when we talk about body image, that isn't just a mental exercise. We have to work with the body to improve that body image. And because by doing so, we're going to reduce that sense of uneasiness or ill-being that we may be experiencing, and we start to perceive the body as it is rather than how we think it is. Inhabiting the body really takes practice, because most of us have to work on changing a lifelong habit of not being in our body, on not inhabiting our body. Because most of us will grow up living outside of the body or next to the body, above the body, and actually in some circumstances it's because we've had to for survival purposes, perhaps, and I'll touch on that in the bit about social work practice, but also because life is so incredibly busy that we tend to live a lot in our minds, and actually we forget we have a body at all sometimes. So to start inhabiting the body, we have to be aware of our body, but it really doesn't end there. It's about acquiring a sense of truly being present throughout the whole internal space of our body, a real sense of living in our body, within our body. Because by experiencing this sense of being, body and mind connected, we develop a sense of wholeness and a sense of self that is more complete. And as a result, our self-image, our body image really changes for the better. We develop a more accurate picture of ourselves. And that results in greater self-acceptance, greater confidence in ourselves, and greater well-being. So there are many ways to inhabit, to learn to inhabit the body again. And Sophrology is one of those. So let's move on to Sophrology. And so it's a method really that has impacted my own self-image, my own body image in a very positive way. And I think it would be inauthentic if I didn't share a little bit of my own story. So let's crack on, and let's tell you a little bit. And I've chosen to zoom in on one specific element that's impacted my life. And so, as I said before, I grew up in France, and I grew up with 2 older brothers. And I trained in gymnastics for quite a few years. I started at the age of 4, so quite an early age. And gymnastics was very much a sport that kind of was part of the DNA in the family. So I went along with it, and I took part in competitions. And I think I stopped doing gymnastics probably about the age of 11 or 12. And I was part of a team of 7 other girls. And that period of my life really truly shaped my perception of my body, and in very negative ways. Because really, I didn't have the physical attributes to perform well at gymnastics. I was the largest girl in the team, and all the other girls had much lighter frames. So they were able to really carry themselves and perform better. So as a result, they repeatedly acquired better grades at competitions, and my grade would never count towards the overall team's performance. And that's something that really would be highlighted to me repeatedly by my coach, by my peers. And when it wasn't things that were said to me, it was just this attitude of exclusion and the unsaid, the untold, and being excluded from the group, or that body language that I could pick up on. And that really conveyed a message to me that I didn't belong and my body was inadequate. So that means that I brought this image of myself into teenage years, which anyway, as we've seen before in previous presentation, is a turbulent time for young people, where we struggle with hormones, finding our place and knowing who we are as individuals. So this contributed to an underlying sense of inadequacy, low self-esteem and self-hate. And that manifested itself as a deep desire to blend in, to hide, to please. And so that affected my relationship with my friends, but also the romantic relationships as I got older in my later teens. So I started experiencing a level of anxiety, a low mood, low confidence, and a lot of negative self-talk. That led me to develop an unhealthy relationship with food for a while, particularly after my A-levels, and I moved out, and I was watching the calories I was eating constantly, exercising, very much focused on the appearances and wanting to be liked. But alongside this, I started working in an environment in marketing, which really didn't work for me. It didn't align with my interests or my values. So I felt very disconnected from myself and deeply unhappy. So I took myself on a bit of a journey of self-discovery through trying various complementary therapies. And I did a lot of traveling as well, a bit of soul searching. And then I came across Sophrology, which really helped me see myself in a very different way, and a new way, and rebuild my self-image in a positive way. So I feel much happier in my own skin now, and I've learned to accept myself as I am and develop my capacity for self-compassion and self-love. So that's a little bit about how I came to Sophrology. And really, I wanted to put a little quote here because I think it summarizes very, very well what we're trying to do in Sophrology. So I'll read it out to you. The real voyage of discovery consists in seeking new landscapes. It consists not in seeking new landscape, but in having new eyes. And that really is the underlying aim there, is that we are working towards stripping away the layers of judgment that we have about ourselves and that we think others have about us. So it's about giving ourselves the permission to try something new, to really change the lens that we see ourselves through, and to be curious about our being. Because this work really enables us to unveil resources that we did not know we had within ourselves, and that we can expand, develop, and tap into to live lives that are a little bit more, that have a greater purpose and will bring us a greater sense of well-being. So let's tell you more about Sophrology. Sophrology is a gentle body and mind approach and the aim of it is to transform our attitude towards ourselves and the world around us in a very conscious, very intentional and positive way. So I need to tell you a little bit about the origins of Sophrology. It was created in the 1960s by a neurologist and a psychiatrist called Professor Alfonso Caicedo. He was inspired by the principles of yoga, Zen meditation, Buddhism, which he blended with Western the knowledge from neurology, from psychology, and phenomenology. So it's a real blend of Western science and Eastern philosophy. So Professor Caicedo devised 12 levels of the full sophrology method, and each level has a specific set of aims, specific set of exercises and aims. Sophrology, the name itself, comes from 3 Greek words: sos, which means harmony, phren, which means consciousness, and logos, which means science or study. So it literally means the science of consciousness in harmony. And that method takes you on a journey to expand your awareness and transform the way you see and relate to yourself and the world around you. And how it does that is through the practice of gentle body movement, breathing exercises, and creative visualizations. So those are performed eyes closed, and I'll guide you through those in a minute. And that enables us, doing the exercises eyes closed, it enables us to reach a state of consciousness that's slightly altered. So we call this the sophroliminal state. So it's a state where your body and your mind are alert, yet very relaxed. So you're able to tap into resources that you have within yourself that are not usually accessible with the usual state of consciousness. And very little by little, we're kind of bringing out those resources so that they're more accessible to us on a day-to-day basis. We use different body postures because that enables us to maintain alertness, focus, and attention, yet remaining in that state of calm and relaxation. So today we'll just focus on level 1 today, which is really about the importance of the body and the body sensations. So we're going to put the outer world on pause for a moment, on hold, and we'll move the awareness within ourselves to listen closely to what the body is telling us. There are 3 principles of sophrology which are very, very key to highlight because they have a direct impact on self-image and body image. The first one is body awareness. I think I might have missed a slide. No, I haven't. Sorry about that. So the first one is body awareness. So we tend to really get overstimulated and distracted in modern life, as I've said before. There's a lot of noise, emails, social media, meetings, and many people feel disconnected from the body, very much in the mind, racing on overdrive. So body awareness is key in sophrology to bring us back to our inner life, which is the center of our being, and it helps us reconnect with a sense of vitality and aliveness in the body. So through the body scan and the body movements, we increase our perceptions, our sensations. We notice the areas of tension and relaxation. So we are better able to notice when we are getting ourselves in a heightened state and react to bring that down and to prevent that stress from developing into physical ailments. So we really build an accurate picture of the state of our home, our body, and we draw a detailed map of our body in our mind, which is based on sensations rather than judging ourselves in the mirror. It's really key, that body awareness, to improve self-confidence and body image, because instead of observing ourselves from the outside, looking at the external appearance of the body, we move the awareness within. So we embody our body fully, we connect to how it feels rather than how it looks. We stop being harsh with the body, taking it for granted, and we start to appreciate it more. So it's a very intentional practice. We learn to accept ourselves as we are, we achieve greater quality of presence in the world, and we develop a more realistic and positive image of the body. And that has a direct link on nurturing self-esteem. So objective reality is about reducing that inner critic and adopting an attitude of non-judgment. Because little by little, through the practice, we're going to learn to peel off those layers of criticism to come back to a neutral state. So it's an attitude of rediscovering ourselves as if for the first time. So with that same sense of wonder that babies have when they discover parts of their body. It's about being curious and more objective in our approach to ourselves. And over time, the attitude that we adopt about ourselves, we're going to start naturally adopting that towards others and the world around us. And that in turn will have a positive impact on our relationships with others. The last principle is the principle of positive action. So we work with the belief that any positive sensation in the body will have a positive knock-on impact on the mind. And any positive thought or mental imagery will have a positive impact on the body. So very gently, we encourage a person to notice the pleasant sensations, the thoughts, the emotions, and we intentionally anchor that within ourselves. So they have a greater presence in our life, a greater focus. And over time, our attention will gently and naturally shift towards the positive. So that doesn't mean that we are trying to get rid of what's not working and what's negative. No. We're really about, it's really about noticing what's there. That might be uncomfortable, that might be painful, that might be unpleasant, but actually intentionally deciding that we're going to slowly shift our attention somewhere else for a moment. So it is there, but we're going to look at this for a moment. So it's really about activating our capacity for hope and optimism here. And what makes Sophrology unique is that we don't just work with the present, because we still have a past and we're still going somewhere. We still have a future. So through the visualization work that we do, we can really explore past positive experiences, and we can bring those sensations into the present to help us prepare for future events. So it's really about acknowledging that we do have the resources within ourselves to cope with life's events. And now I need to have a drink before I guide you through a session. Okay, so we are going to use a couple of postures today, and we'll start standing up, then we'll sit down, we'll stand back up, and we'll sit back down again. So with Sophrology, we're not trying to perform here. So it's very much about listening to your body's abilities and state in the moment. So if you're feeling that you can't stand up with your eyes closed, or you're feeling a little bit wobbly, or for some reason you're unable to do so, then just be kind to yourself, sit down and do the exercises sat down. So I'll just tell you I'll talk you through the exercises that we're going to do, so you know what's coming a little bit. And then we'll close our eyes and please just follow my voice and take a little pause to focus on your well-being. So we'll start standing up, and I'll ask you to scan your body from your head down to your toes in greater depth this time, to acknowledge the presence of each part of the body and consciously let go and relax. I'll just, stand up to show you. That doesn't work, does it? Yeah. Once we've done that, I'll ask you to clench your fist and put your fist in front of your abdomen. And then I'll ask you to try and see if there is any remaining tension, which could be physical, emotional, or mental. And we are going to take a breath in, gently tense up the whole body. And as you breathe out, you can imagine that you're clearing the body, perhaps, of that unnecessary tension. And we'll do that 3 times. And then we'll sit back down just to notice how we're feeling. We'll tune in with the breath to try and invite positive sensations of vitality and anchor in the body. Then we'll stand back up and we'll do a dynamic relaxation exercise. That's really good to activate the presence of the body in the mind. So I'll ask you to shift your body on the left and then stretch your arms up towards the ceiling. Take a deep breath in and gently tense up the left side of the body, leaving the right side as relaxed as possible. And when you can't hold your breath anymore, you relax, let go, come back to the center. We'll do it on the right side, and then we'll do it with both arms up. And then we'll sit down, and depending on the time, because I'm conscious of it, we will maybe do an object of contemplation, and that's really to have a go at applying that non-judgment, attitude of non-judgment, picking an object of nature perhaps, or an object of daily life, and discovering it as if for the first time, okay? And then we'll take a pause, come back to the room. And then I'll tell you a little bit about the application of sophrology in social work practice. So let's do it. Let's stand up or stay sat down if you feel like you're not going to be able to do it standing up. And with your feet flat on the floor, just close your eyes. And you're putting the world outside on hold to move your awareness within, move your awareness into your body, with the intention today to see if you can rediscover yourself with new eyes. Moving the awareness in the body, just notice the posture of your body to start with. Feel the feet firmly on the floor. And bring your awareness to your head and face. Notice the presence of your head and face. And relax consciously any tension you may feel in this part of the body. Forehead, cheek muscles. You can even imagine the brain is a big muscle suddenly relaxing. Move your awareness down to your neck, your shoulders, your arms. And notice the presence of this part of the body. Relaxing as much as you can. Now moving your awareness down to your chest, your upper back. Notice the presence of this part of the body. Relaxing as if you wanted to leave more space for your lungs, your heart. Move your awareness down to your abdomen, your lower back, keeping just enough tension to remain standing up and letting go of any unnecessary tension. Aware of the presence of this part of the body, relaxing. And awareness of your legs, your feet. The presence of this part of the body in a relaxed state. And now clench your fists and put them just in front of your abdomen, your belly button. And see if you can identify any remaining tension, whether it's physical, mental, or emotional. And we're going to gently tense up the body as you breathe in. Gently tense up the whole body. And as you breathe out, it is as if you're letting go of this remaining tension. Once more, inhale. Very gentle tension of your whole body. And breathe out. Exhale. Let go. One last time at your own pace. And relax your arms back down along the body. And if you can sit down with your eyes closed, that's fine, but you can also just open them very slightly to find your chair and sit in a comfortable position with your back resting against the chair. Closing your eyes again, just taking a moment to tune in, see how you're feeling without judging, just being an observer of your sensations. Maybe subtle sensations or more obvious ones. And connecting with the breath now, noticing the breath as you inhale and exhale. And if you can identify a positive sensation, maybe in the body, a pleasant sensation, we're connecting to this sense of aliveness and vitality in the body. And as you breathe in, it is as if you're heightening that pleasant sensation. And as you breathe out, it is as if you're diffusing that sense of vitality and aliveness throughout the whole body, activating as you inhale, diffusing as you exhale. Now let go of the focus on your breathing. And again, we're going to get ready to stand up. Just be careful, maybe open your eyes slightly if you want to. And then when you're standing up and you've got a good sense of balance, you can close your eyes again. We're going to heighten the perception of our body now by doing a dynamic relaxation exercise. So I invite you to gently shift the weight of your body on the left leg and stretch your arms up towards the ceiling. And as you breathe in, you're going to tense up one half of the body, the left side of the body, leaving the right side as relaxed as you can. And as you breathe out, relax. Bring your arm back down along the body. Shift the weight to the center. And maybe notice the sensations and how the left side feels compared to the right side. Shift the weight of the body on the right side now. Stretch your right arm up towards the ceiling. Inhale. Gently tense up the right side of the body, leaving the left as relaxed as you can. And when you can't hold your breath anymore, relax. Shift the weight back to the center. And now both arms, as you inhale, you bring both arms up towards the ceiling, towards the sky. Gently tense up the whole body. Real sense of your verticality here. And breathe out, relax. Just a little pause to notice how you feel. Both sides of the body activated now. And again, very gently, very slowly, you're going to sit back down. And a very quick visualization now to finish. With your eyes closed, let an image of a neutral object come to your mind. Maybe an object of nature, maybe an object of daily life. Just let one come to your mind, and you can visualize it on your inner screen. And I'd like you to adopt that attitude of non-judgment, of rediscovering that object as if for the first time. Noticing the shape of that object. And being curious about discovering it from different angles. You allow yourself perhaps to rotate around that object, to look at it from different angles. Looking at the colors. Perhaps the different textures. Looking at it from the sides, from above or underneath. Maybe see if there's a specific smell that you can notice. Notice the size as well of that object. Maybe you can touch the object and notice the change of texture or temperature. And now you let go of this image in your mind, keeping your eyes closed. You can connect to this image again if you feel the need to focus your mind and practice that attitude of non-judgment. And just taking a few seconds to notice how you're feeling in the body. And you're going to come back to the room very slowly, very gently. You can stretch, rub your hands if you need to. Take a few deep breaths to reactivate the energy in your body. And you can open your eyes when you're back. And what we like to do in Sophrology is then ask people to share a little bit about their experience. Because putting that on paper or saying it out loud really helps anchor the experience in our mind, and we're better able to access those resources than further down the line. So if you're up for it, I'd like you to just maybe, if you want, share a word about how you're feeling right now in the chat. I'm not going to be able to pick up on it and explore in more depth, but I'd love to see how you're feeling. And I'll move on to the bit about social work practice, which is my last slide. So you can then go and have lunch because perhaps some tummies were rumbling as we were doing this. So let's crack on. But yeah, I'd love to hear how you're all feeling. Yes, so application to social work practice. So we're encouraged as social workers to develop our awareness of ourselves and our past experiences, our values, our belief, and how these impact on our practice. But for me, self-awareness is so much broader than that, and it has to include an awareness of the body. It has to include an awareness of our state of stress and tension, the constant flow of thoughts going through our mind, because actually we also bring this into social work practice. So when we're going into someone's house or even in the hospital setting, we're bringing our body with us, and people are able to pick up on our body language, on our state of stress or relaxation. So it's really important because that really is going to impact our interactions with them and how they're going to respond to us. I can see that some of you are relaxed, peaceful, hungry. Yeah, sorry. Okay, thank you so much for sharing. And so actually when we look, I'm looking specifically here at social work practice, but what I'm going to say is very valid for any helping profession, really. Therapist, coach, anybody can take that on. Social workers aren't immune to low self-esteem, low self-confidence, negative body image. So before we look at bringing Sophrology into our practice as a tool for direct intervention, the work really has to start with ourselves. Social work is also a busy profession, and one in which very little time is allocated for pausing and connecting to the body. But there are short exercises that you can easily fit into your day to achieve this and achieve greater awareness and greater calm. So we did a long practice now, but the elements of Sophrology can be divided up and shortened to fit into a busy schedule, like the one we did at the beginning. So I've gotten into a habit of taking a minute before every visit in the car to close my eyes, scan the body, and then tune in and see what kind of state I am in. Because by doing an intentional release of tension and stress, connecting to the breath helps me settle the body and the mind and makes me more present in my interaction with individuals. It also sharpens my focus, so it enables me to leave aside anything that's happened before during the day that I may be bringing into my session, which has got nothing to do with my visit here and now. So I'm consciously putting that aside. So I'm starting with a state of calm and perspective, and that results in greater listening skills as well. So over time as well, as we practice, we start to become simultaneously aware of the body as we are interacting with people. And that's a really good tool because it helps us to really fine tune how we're going to respond to people. And so what I also do is I practice after a visit. So I use the body itself as a tool, as a source of information to tune in, see how the body is feeling and how that visit was for me. You know, how am I comfortable? Am I feeling unpleasant emotions? You know, what is this? It's really good, and that can be actually a topic during supervision as well to explore. So let's now have a look at a tool for direct intervention. because in social work, we encounter adults and children daily whose relationship with the body is fractured for whatever reason. So it could be a child that's grown up with in an abusive, hostile, or unpredictable environment, and that's developed a pattern of living outside of their body in order to protect themselves, because by making themselves small and withdrawing from their bodily experience, they're maybe becoming less noticeable, less of a target, and they've got more chances of surviving the storm. But this pattern of diffusion can become quite chronic and unconscious, and that can result in a grown adult who's really struggling with tuning in to their inner life, has difficulties in their relationship, and potentially some mental health difficulties. That can also be a child who's exposed to recurrent alcohol misuse from a parent, potentially mental health difficulties as well. And perhaps as a way to control what's going on in their life, they're going to start developing unhealthy patterns, unhealthy relationship with food. It can be a veterans, because as I mentioned before, I've worked with Help for Heroes in the past. And so it could be working with a veteran undergoing an amputation, for example, as a result of a traumatic event and struggling to adjust to that loss of physical ability. It can be a sudden weight loss or loss of body part as a result of physical ill health. So there are really multiple examples in social work where people have disconnected from their body, or they have a difficult relationship with it, or the body itself, as we've seen before with Evelyn's presentation, is a source of anxiety. And for a lot of people, tuning into the body can be uncomfortable at first because we don't know how we'll feel or what we'll find. So we have to use our judgment in social work and be trauma informed in how we practice. And so as a result, I wouldn't recommend to do a full session, sophrology session, and obviously because you're not really sure how people are going to react, but actually starting to apply some of the principles of sophrology is a starting point in helping people gently reconnect with their bodies and reinstate a state of calm in their lives. And very gently change the perception, change how they're perceiving themselves, how they're treating themselves. So it can be a discussion about body awareness. It can be discussing what positive action is. It can be a simple practices like we've done at the beginning, right? Inviting the client to, right, what's going on right now in the body? Tell me a little bit more about what you're feeling. You know, how is that manifesting itself in the body? Tuning into the breath, and those are very much entry points. Whilst very simple, they're very effective tool in their own right to learn to befriend the body and to slowly start re-inhabiting it. Because over time, the awareness practice will have a cumulative effect on, and often people will then be ready to venture further in the discovery of themselves. So it really is all about planting seeds of awareness, starting with ourselves and then spreading it out to others. And so I've put a couple of books there, which are, I think, really, really good if you want to find out more about sophrology. Very, very good resources. And then that's it. I'd like to thank you all for listening to me today. And I know it's over lunch, so it's tricky, but thank you for staying on. And if you'd like to connect and talk about sophrology or social work practice, then please connect with me on LinkedIn, and I'd love to talk to you. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Marion. That's really, for me, was a great opportunity to relieve some of the tensions that got into my body when we got the password wrong and and all the technological issues that we had. So I hope, and by the comments, it seemed like it did good things for other people, so that's great. If there are any questions to Marion, small question. Johannes, yes.
Maybe just innocently, it seems that the technique or the practice is to some extent based on visualization. Why is there such an emphasis on visualization?
Thank you for your question. So the entry point, as I've said, is looking at the use of the body with the breath awareness and the gentle body movement. But actually, what's helpful is also to use the mind, and the visualization work is really important because the brain doesn't differentiate between what's being visualized and what's real. So by using visualization, we're able to trick the body into thinking, actually, we've already experienced that event. So particularly when we're doing visualization of past experiences or future events, we're able to activate some resources and capacities that the body is thinking, right now I have got those, I have experienced this again, and so I can apply that in the future, so that we are then being able, when we are not in that state of relaxation and we are in our daily life, we're able to access those resources a lot quicker because the body's already experienced those positive, pleasant sensations. So it's really about activating that awareness. I hope that's answered a little bit of your question.
No, thank you very much. I'm just thinking through it myself, because breath for me, breathing is not visual.
No,
and therefore,
no.
When you direct me to do the exercises, I tend to not activate my visual consciousness.
No. So the breathing is separate from the visualization.
In a sense, I think the inner perception for me works differently. I can't explain it, but it's not visual.
Okay, and it's going to work differently for different people. Yeah. And I think it's the beauty of it is actually to just be, well, it is what it is, and it is your experience, and it's going to be very, very different for somebody else, and it's going to change as well. And it's, well, that's what it is today, and tomorrow the same session will yield different results. Yeah. Thank you.
Good. Thank you very much, Mariam. That was a wonderful opportunity to experience a new practice. For me, it sort of managed to do something meaningful in a very quick span of time. And I can really see how this can be potentially used by practitioners working under real time constraints. And I would love to learn more about this, but so this is just a beginning. I'll say thank you to all our speakers from this